Wells Fargo Wachovia, but it says their dilemma is they hate to love niggers and love to hate niggers.
I would say yes.
Is there any context in which it should be used?
No.
Would you agree that the word is detestable?
I personally don't like it.
But you have used it.
Those were the times.
Have you ever used a racial slur?
Define it.
The N-word.
Ever? Yes.
You have. Well, I didn't stop making payments on the mortgage. I was paying on the mortgage. Wells Fargo refused to accept the payments. And they refused to accept the payments because after, from what I can understand, they collaborated with North Charleston. They decided that it was to their advantage to not accept the payments. In fact, they sent 3 checks back to me that I paid to them. They copied the check. They actually deposited the checks, credited the account, and then they sent those checks back to me and refused to accept any additional checks. That is correct.
And this suit isn't about the terms and conditions of that loan. It's about the actions surrounding it, right?
The lawsuit, correct.
Okay. The lawsuit's about a conspiracy with the city of North Charleston, as you've alleged. Is that what?
That's part of it. Part of
Okay.
it is the racial discrimination that occurred between 2004 and 2008 with Wells Fargo, and my loan was done in 2006.
All right. But it's not, just so the record's clear, it's not, this case isn't about the terms and conditions of your loan, though. It's about racial discrimination and a conspiracy with the city of North Charleston.
Well, it's about what's alleged in the pleadings.
Okay.
Part of it is the fact that North Charleston has admitted to conspiring with Wells Fargo.
Mm-hmm.
The policemen and 9 city officials raided and trespassed onto my property to force me to City Hall to fill out an application that was not necessary. North Charleston policemen who entered my home and held me at gunpoint had a weapon, yes.
And the guns at your house, what was going on there with the city of North Charleston?
I don't know. I've asked for that information in the discovery, why a policeman would enter into my home and hold me at gunpoint when I did not call the police, no one else had called the police.
So one evening or night, the police just came to your house, held you at gunpoint, and then left?
That is correct.
Okay. You think that was based on race, racial discrimination?
I don't know. I mean, I've asked for the information, and the discovery, North Charleston would have to answer that.
Okay. When you started building your house, at some point there was a dispute with one of your neighbors, is that correct?
There was a disagreement, a boundary disagreement, yes.
Okay. And what was that boundary disagreement about?
It regarded the boundary dispute on the west side of the property.
Okay. And who lives to the who's your neighbor on the west side of the property?
Patrick Percy.
How do you spell?
Over the property where the property boundary was.
Okay. And did you win that dispute?
Yes.
Okay. So Patrick said that you were going too far into his property. You said, no, this is my property.
Correct.
And y'all had somebody come out and look at it, and it was determined that actually this is Mr. Singletary's property, not Mr. Percy's.
Correct. 2 surveys.
Okay.
One of his choosing, one of my choosing.
And is Mr. Percy friends with Mayor Keith Sumney?
Yeah, I mean, you would have to ask him.
Fargo acted because of that. Do you have any evidence that Wells Fargo acted with malice towards you?
Yes.
All right, what is it and why?
An appraisal that has defaming, derogatory statements,
Did
that
Wells-
slanders the title of the property,
Okay.
done by an agent of Wells Fargo.
So but Wells Fargo, you would agree with me, Wells Fargo did not prepare that appraisal, did they?
An agent of Wells Fargo prepared that appraisal from direct direction from Wells Fargo. And so, in essence, Wells Fargo prepared it.
And are you talking about David Bates' appraisal that valued your property approximately $500,000?
Surprised to know that Wells Fargo's attorney stated that Judge Marchant should not be on the bench.
Object to the form.
Answer the
Aware of
question.
that.
No, not aware. It's a yes or no. Would you be surprised to know that one of Wells Fargo's attorneys stated that Judge Marchant should not be on the bench? Yes or no?
No, I wouldn't be surprised.
You wouldn't be surprised.
Not knowing a bunch of lawyers.
Is that because the contention that was subject matter was correct about Judge Marchant, or because you're saying that attorneys say anything?
That attorneys are what?
Or are you saying that attorneys say anything?
I can see how they can say somebody shouldn't be on the bench.
Do you know Judge Marchant?
As one resident's dream home leads to changes in zoning.
Not a question, it's a statement. In here, it states that Jerry called and I gave him the RC number to charge the attorney appraisal fee of $970. Is $970 excessive for a residential?
Is it what?
Is it excessive for a residential appraisal?
I don't think so. I don't have any real knowledge of residential appraisals one way or the other, but
Two appraisals on this truth in lending or settlement report. Can you tell me the amounts for those two appraisals?
425 and 175.
Does the appraisal mentioned in this letter for the Singletaries, does it exceed by twice the amount, any amount on there for any appraisal?
Looks like it, yes.
Thank you. Are you aware that, does federal law prohibit excessive charging of appraisal fees?
Don't know.
You don't know. Bank, loan officer, commercial loans, and you're not aware as to whether or not you're doing something that is against the law? You've been in banking for 30 years?
I don't know what the appraisal, John.
Okay. But you've been in banking, so you've dealt with appraisal. Yes
I
or
don't know
no?
what the appraisal.
Yeah, whether you order it or not, the question doesn't center around ordering. It centers around whether or not the fee is excessive and if the federal law prohibits excessive fees for appraisal.
I don't know.
You don't know.
Your question.
Okay, well. Let's see, country. Could you read that headline there?
Mortgage loan compliance, excessive fees, illegal practices, only 108 million. June the 15th, 2010, 8:59 a.m.
Thank you. Excessive fees, particularly appraisal fees.
Say that in the title?
I said excessive fees, well, I read the article, but I'm just making a statement so that
I don't have any idea.
well, you said that Bill Goodwin's your friend.
He is my friend.
And if there's an engagement with Wells Fargo, I would assume that you would have conversations with him concerning.
Not if he's being engaged by a mortgage lender in West Ashley working for us. I would have no indication of that.
How did Bill Goodwin, who contacted Bill Goodwin to do the appraisal on the Singletary house?
I did.
You contacted him personally?
Absolutely.
Okay, so at least one you do know.
Well, yeah, you said,
Okay.
I told you that one
So-
all along.
Is that the only one you ever had Bill done that you contacted him personally?
Yes.
Okay. That's the only time. Why would you go outside of your normal method of appraisals just for the Singletary residence?
Object to the form.
You know, I don't remember at the time. He was an advisory board member, and you know, that was why we chose him.
Do you often do that?
No.
Have you ever done it before?
In 30-something years, I don't know if I did or didn't.
So you can't remember whether or not you contacted Bill Goodwin to do an appraisal directly at any other time?
I can't think of any other time that I directly approached him to do an appraisal.
If that's the only time you've done it, then all other clients, well, let me rephrase the question. The Singletaries have been treated different than other clients in respect to your calling Bill Goodwin directly to do an appraisal.
Object to the form.
I think that would be right, but I can't
That would be
remember the
correct.
circumstances
Yes
of
and no,
why I
just yes and
requested.
no, just yes and no.
Ask the
just
question
fine.
again.
In respect to your calling Bill Goodwin directly to do an appraisal, the Singletary's treatment was different than other appraisals that you normally have done through walk over.
Object to the form.
I don't know that that's necessarily true because of the time frame that this was involved and the circumstance. I can't answer that.
Yes or
or
no, just a yes or no answer.
Don't know.
Okay. But you did state that you called him directly.
Yes.
And you did state that you don't remember calling anyone else, having him do anyone else's by direct call.
No, I do not remember doing that.
Based on that, your two responses with the Singletaries have been treated differently.
Differently than who?
Than all other appraisals. You've never had it done before. If you did it this time, this one time has to be different if you didn't do it subsequent times.
This is the only residential second mortgage I ever originated.
The question is,
So for me, it would be different.
whether or not they were treated differently.
I don't
based
know
on
the
your-
answer. I don't know the answer to that.
Based on your calling Bill Goodwin. Have you ever called him for any other residential mortgage?
No.
Okay, so based on that, would they have been treated differently, yes or no?
Okay, yes.
Unequal treatment